The lion surges across the savanna, each heavy stride stamping its authority into the ground. Breath tightens, the formation closes, and escape routes are sealed within seconds. Another predator appears, and the angle of approach is cut off. No roar is needed. Choosing the right position is enough to seize the advantage. So what allows the lion to take control from the very first moment? Hyenas are masters of opportunity. An adult can weigh up to around 150 pounds, with an estimated bite force of over 1,000 swords, strong enough to snap through hard targets. Their clans are built on a matriarchal structure, led by seasoned females who enforce strict order and turn the group into a unified force that is hard to shake. They do not only hunt, they also routinely trail leopards or lions to contest access to food. When a lion's roar collides with the hyena's chilling laughter over what remains of a meal, the confrontation ignites instantly. If only a few lionesses are present, the hyenas exploit their numerical advantage, forming a noisy ring and applying constant pressure from multiple directions, steadily wearing down the defense rhythm, and at times forcing lionesses to leave the area. But the balance shifts completely when a male lion appears. With overwhelming strength, nearly 4 times that of a hyena, just a few decisive steps forward can make the clan hesitate, the formation break apart, and the group retreat in a hurry. At times, lions extend pressure through a long game strategy, following tracks and harassing areas where hyenas raise their young, forcing rivals to stay alert even in places that seem safest. The goal is not always food, but reducing competition and delivering a clear message about boundaries. That is why, no matter how persistent or numerous they are, hyenas must always be cautious in the presence of the savanna's king. A rivalry that feels deeply woven into the unwritten rules of this land. Across the same grasslands, African wild dogs are among the most refined hunting specialists. Despite their relatively small bodies at around 70 pounds, they make up for it with endurance, speed, and coordination that few species can match. With success rates reaching as high as 80%, they become formidable rivals in the struggle for energy. But the moment that hunting rhythm crosses into lion territory, the atmosphere shifts instantly. Lions appear, move straight into the center, and assert control over the food source through sheer authority. Under overwhelming pressure, the wild dogs are forced to scatter like arrows, using speed to stretch the pursuit and carve open escape routes. Even so, lions are not easily diverted. One mistimed beat, one pup falling behind, and the distance vanishes. Each encounter like this is a way lions confirm control across the savanna. For wild dogs, as lion numbers rise in an area, the survival chances of their pups are directly affected. Studies suggest that only about 1/3 to 1/2 of the young make it to adulthood. If the lion is a symbol of open, overwhelming power, the leopard is a quiet, solitary hunter. From the same cat family and competing for the same food resources, when interests overlap, there is almost no room for compromise. The leopard lives alone, so it often avoids direct confrontation, but lingering near a lion's patrol routes makes contact almost unavoidable. When a lion charges, an early reaction can still allow the leopard to get away. At speeds over 35 miles per hour, it can spring up a tree within seconds, quickly moving beyond reach. Along that thin boundary, awareness and reflexes become the shield that helps the leopard preserve its survival advantage again and again. But the more it moves along the edges of territory, the more scent and movement patterns are stored in the lion's memory. So in the next face-to-face moment, the charge is no longer a boundary warning. The lion applies pressure from the first beat, cuts off open space, locks down escape angles, and forces a decision in a split second. And if an entire pride detects it, the rhythm changes immediately. The circle tightens, each step compressing space, forcing the leopard to adjust from a disadvantaged position. One brief lapse is enough for the balance to tip completely, when the dominant force turns a chance encounter into a final outcome. The balance tips fully toward the dominant force. On the savanna, the cheetah is the fastest runner. With a body of around 120 pounds, a flexible spine, and long legs, it can accelerate from near zero to over 60 miles per hour in just a few seconds. But speed is not always enough to protect it from lions, the dominant force of this land. Most of the time, the cheetah escapes by detecting danger early and breaking away before pressure closes in. One moment of distraction, letting a lion get too close, and the advantage of speed is immediately shut down. A split-second delay can flip everything. And pressure does not come only from the chase. After bringing down a target, the cheetah often must eat quickly and leave before other predators arrive. A few seconds too slow, and all effort can be lost. The lesson is clear. Not just running fast, but staying alert at the right moment is the true advantage. Crocodiles, the ancient reptiles of rivers and wetlands, can reach lengths of around 16 feet and weigh close to 1,000 pounds in large individuals. They are known for an almost invisible ambush style, remaining still, holding position, and waiting for the precise moment. Their strength lies in absolute patience and a sudden upward snap from beneath the surface, with a bite force once measured at around 3,700 psi. When lions approach to drink or cross a river, every step slows, every gaze scans the water. Yet the real danger often comes from a place no one sees in time. One sudden surge is enough to push the entire group back from the edge, retreating to familiar shallow ground. In that moment, what saves the lions is not strength, but reflex. A quick burst, a sharp change of direction, and staying close to the shallows. But when the encounter shifts onto land, the balance nearly reverses. On dry ground, lions are more agile and proactive, able to apply pressure where crocodiles struggle to turn or reposition. If a crocodile is forced too far from the water and cannot slide back in time, it faces a disadvantage against a rising group of lions. This encounter delivers a clear reminder. Power is not just size or intimidation, but being in the right place at the right time, within an environment one truly controls. On the African savanna, there are borders no one can see, yet every lion can sense them. This is territory, the ground that holds water, grasslands, shade, and the routes prey most often follow. Holding that space means securing life for the pride, protecting the young, and extending the group's future. When they reach peak strength, young males are forced to leave the place they were born, roaming dozens of miles in search of land of their own. A roar carries like a declaration, and scent marks laid across low grass serve as a clear warning sign. But those same signals also invite a challenge, and the most formidable rival is another lion. Wherever he steps, the land may already have an owner. A clash can ignite as fast as a spark. The deciding edge is not only muscle, but will and pride, driving an opponent back from the boundary. The winner holds control of the territory and the chance to carry on his lineage. The one at a disadvantage must retreat to preserve the chance to live on. These internal battles between kings reveal the cold face of natural selection. There is no room for hesitation. Only those with the nerve, the toughness, and the awareness to stay sharp can hold their place and leave a mark for the next generation. Deep in the forest, the grizzly bear emerges as a living mass of muscle, carrying enough power to make the woods seem to tremble. Each step makes the ground feel as if it is shaking, a warning sent to any creature that dares to cross into its territory. For this bear, every charge is a decisive contest to hold on to its place of dominance along the mountain slopes. In a world where strength is the only rule, a single moment of hesitation can reverse the roles of hunter and hunted. And today, some intruder is about to step into its domain. The grizzly bear is the quiet power of the North American forests. It weighs between 400 and 700 pounds, yet can still surge forward at nearly 35 miles per hour. Its muscular shoulder hump, curved claws, thick fur, and highly sensitive sense of smell allow it to move through dense forests, across glaciers, and over rocky mountain slopes without hesitation. With a flexible diet that ranges from berries, roots, and insects to animal remains, the grizzly easily adapts to the harsh conditions of all 4 seasons. Because of this, it becomes a crucial link in transferring energy and maintaining balance within the ecosystem. Wolves are clever, intelligent hunters, a symbol of teamwork and careful strategy. A pack usually includes from 5 to more than 10 individuals, each weighing around 80 to 100 pounds, able to cover more than 20 miles in a single pursuit. They normally hunt hoofed animals, coordinating to drive and corner their targets, then share the meal to survive. This persistence around a single feeding opportunity makes them direct competitors with the grizzly bear, both for food and for territory. In Yellowstone National Park, a grizzly bear weighing nearly 700 pounds stands guard over a cached meal buried beneath almost a foot of snow. When the wolf pack arrives, it moves in immediately to defend its reserve. Even though the wolves have the numbers and keep circling and testing it from just a few dozen yards away, they soon realize the bear's resolve will not be shaken and are forced to withdraw, leaving control of the food source to the grizzly. In another scene, a few wolves are absorbed in their meal when a large-shouldered grizzly breaks the silence. Despite their growls and bared teeth in warning, the bear calmly swings its nearly 4-inch claws through the air, forcing the wolves to scatter in panic and give up the meal entirely. In most encounters, the advantage belongs to the grizzly. It takes the portion it needs and then withdraws without chasing its rivals. Over time, a kind of quiet rule takes shape between the two species, where the bear claims its share and the wolves keep a safe distance, an invisible boundary that helps maintain order and ecological balance. The elk's breath fades into the cold air, signaling the presence of an animal that must stay constantly alert. Each one can weigh more than 700 pounds, with muscles powerful enough to launch into a sprint at the first hint of risk. Above its head is a broad, branching set of antlers, sharp-edged and imposing, both a mark of strength and a natural barrier against any threat. But when the mating season ends, and the herd begins to spread out, any elk that wanders off, whether fully grown or still young, can become an ideal target inside a grizzly bear's territory. The confrontation unfolds as the grizzly quietly shifts its path, step by step guiding the elk toward harsher ground, especially the edges of rivers and cold streams. The bear skillfully uses the terrain to keep the upper hand and relies on its enormous momentum to push the elk off balance. With just a brief moment of confusion, the balance immediately tilts toward the grizzly, allowing it to take full control of the situation. At times, the elk still resists, using its antlers to keep one last bit of distance. But that effort only manages to stretch the chase a little longer. The bear holds firm and draws its prize toward the shore with complete control. And what remains is not only a show of power, but a reminder of the cycle of survival. This meal will sustain the grizzly for several days, while the rest returns to the earth, feeding the grass and the natural cleaners of the wild, all joining together to keep the forest in balance. The puma is a mysterious, almost legendary big cat with powerful leaps that can cover more than 20 feet in a single bound. Weighing up to 150 pounds and able to launch surprise attacks from above, it is a master of swift, sudden strikes. With remarkable strength, it can stand up to almost any opponent. However, when it stands before a grizzly bear, the balance of power suddenly changes. At first, the puma has no intention of a direct confrontation, wanting only to slip away and find a quiet place to rest, avoiding an unnecessary clash. But just one small signal from her cubs hidden behind the bushes is enough to awaken a fierce protective instinct. In an instant, the mother mountain lion turns back, growls, and faces the massive grizzly bear head-on. There is no reckless charge, only a battle of stares and carefully measured steps forward and back, where both know that a single mistake could come at a heavy cost. In the end, it is the mother mountain lion's resolve and determination to protect her family that makes the grizzly give way. Motherly devotion becomes the force that pushes the giant to back down, because for her, keeping her cubs safe matters more than any confrontation. In the vast forests of North America, an adult male grizzly bear weighing more than 700 pounds can command a territory ranging from about 70 to over 400 square miles. This range is not only a place to find food, but also a breeding ground, the result of many seasons of survival. Yet sometimes its most formidable rival is another grizzly, especially during the salmon run or the mating season, when food and the chance to pass on its genes become more valuable than ever. When two giants step into the same resource-rich stretch of land, the tension rises instantly. This is no longer just a test of strength, but a trial of strategy and determination. Tactics to gain the upper hand include powerful claws, sprint speeds that can reach about 35 miles per hour, and a bite force that can exceed 1,000 psi, often directed towards the neck or shoulder area in quick, decisive moves. The goal is not to destroy the opponent, but to re-establish dominance and restore order. In some areas, clashes between males can also bring risks for cubs, as a new arrival may try to secure future breeding chances. Because of this, mother bears remain highly alert, and these confrontations unintentionally filter out the weaker individuals, helping the grizzly population maintain its resilience across many generations. When salmon season begins, the cold rivers turn into streams of energy, with hundreds of thousands of fish swimming upstream, an opportunity the grizzly never ignores. An adult that weighs more than 650 pounds needs to add hundreds of thousands of calories, so this is when it enters a kind of intense feeding mode, building a massive reserve of fat for the many months of retreat ahead. Its feeding strategy is extremely effective. The larger bears quickly claim strategic positions near waterfalls, where the fish are forced to leap through a space of only a few square yards. With intense focus, they need less than a second to sweep a shimmering salmon into their mouths. During peak hours, a single bear can grab dozens of fish, turning the falls into a non-stop energy line. Toward the end of the season, as the generous feast of salmon begins to wind down and most of the fish are exhausted after traveling dozens of miles, the grizzly moves downstream to catch those that are weakening. By maximizing the energy gained while expending as little effort as possible, it stores up enough reserves to get through the harsh winter ahead. This is a crucial link in the ecosystem. The nutrients from the salmon are spread through the forest by the grizzlies, helping to enrich the soil and nourish the plants. The moose is a giant herbivore, with a body weight that can exceed 1,500 pounds and antlers spreading more than 6 feet wide, like a natural steel frame. Even with such a massive build, it can still accelerate to nearly 35 miles per hour and change direction with surprising agility, enough to make many predators think twice. Yet in the food chain, every advantage, no matter how great, is only temporary. The grizzly silently watches from a distance, waiting for an old moose or a young one newly separated from its mother to make a mistake. When an opportunity opens up, the bear does not always rush in immediately. It drives the moose toward muddy ground or uneven terrain, where those heavy steps begin to lose their agility. Only when its rival has spent much of its strength does the bear speed up to close the distance. Even then, the moose fights back with its large antlers and powerful kicks that can cause serious harm. In the end, The bear is sometimes forced to back off and retreat. Each encounter is a reminder that in nature, it is not always the biggest animal that wins, but the one that can read the terrain, stay patient, and choose the right moment to act. Each predator and each prey species holds a role, keeping the savanna in balance and ensuring that power is always tested. If these stories help viewers see nature differently, they can stay with the channel to follow the next journey. And if they want that journey to be told in greater depth, you can press like and subscribe as a sign of support. Perhaps on the next watch, they will recognize something familiar in the way nature chooses to face pressure, step back, and stand firm.